Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Live from New Delhi, watching GD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Amritpal Singh. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro now in New York jail as Trump says US to run Venezuela. Venezuela Supreme Court orders Vice President Delcy Rodriguez to take charge as interim president. India expresses deep concern over the evolving situation in Venezuela, calls for dialogue ensuring peace and stability in the region. Myanmar's junta government releases over 6,000 prisoners as part of the annual amnesty to mark the country's Independence Day. 52 foreign prisoners also released. Prime Minister Modi virtually inaugurates the 72nd edition of the National Volleyball Tournament in Varanasi, says sports reforms like the National Sports Governance Act and Khelo Bharat Policy 2025 are transforming sports ecosystem in India. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, who was captured by US forces on Saturday, is now in custody in a New York jail. He's set to face trial for drug trafficking charges. The White House posted a video on social media platform X of Maduro handcuffed, escorted by federal agents through a US Drug Enforcement Administration facility in New York. Maduro, who has been indicted on various US charges, including narco-terrorism conspiracy, is expected to make an initial appearance in a Manhattan federal court on Monday. Earlier on Saturday, the US launched a wide-scale air, land and sea military attack on Venezuela involving at least 150 aircraft. Maduro and his wife were captured from Caracas and flown out of the country into the United States. Meanwhile, the Venezuela Supreme Court has ordered that Vice President Delcy Rodriguez should assume the role of acting president of the country in the absence of Nicolas Maduro. The ruling added that the court will debate the matter in order to determine the applicable legal framework to guarantee the continuity of the state, the administration of the government and defense of sovereignty in the face of forced absence of President of the Republic. Meanwhile, Rodriguez in a live address insisted that the government was ready to defend the natural resources of the country. Her comments came after US President Donald Trump said that Washington intends to run the Caribbean nation and tap its huge oil reserves. Various countries around the world, including India, have reacted to it. India has expressed concern over the recent developments in Venezuela and said it is closely monitoring the evolving situation there. India's External Affairs Ministry in a statement said the recent development in Venezuela is a matter of deep concern. The statement further reads that India reaffirms its support to the well-being and safety of the people of Venezuela and called upon all concerned to address issues peacefully through dialogue, ensuring peace and stability of the region. The Embassy of India in Caracas is in contact with members of the Indian community and will continue to provide all possible assistance. And India has also urged its nationals to avoid all non-essential travel to Venezuela after the U.S. troops captured the South American country's president and took the president and his wife and took them to the U.S. As per the advisory, all Indians currently in Venezuela are advised to exercise extreme caution, restrict their movements and remain in contact with the Indian Embassy in Caracas through the email ID or emergency phone numbers as being put out on your screens right now. And the world reacted to U.S. strikes on Venezuela, capturing Maduro on Saturday. French President Emmanuel Macron praised the U.S. removal of Venezuelan leader and said that the transition must be peaceful, democratic and respectful of the will of its people. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz calls legal assessment of U.S. strikes on Venezuela complex. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu praised Trump for capturing Maduro. He said he salutes Trump's decisive resolve and the brilliant action of the American soldiers. And China criticized the interference of the U.S. in Venezuela crisis. According to Chinese Foreign Ministry statement, China is deeply shocked and strongly condemns the use of force by U.S. against a sovereign country and the use of force against the president of a country. Russians also condemned the U.S. strikes and called for peace through resolution and dialogue. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer refused to be drawn on whether or not U.S. President Trump's military action against Venezuela may have broken international law.
I want to establish the facts first. I want to speak to President Trump. I want to speak to allies. As I say, I can be absolutely clear that we were not involved in that. And as you know, I always say and believe we should all uphold international law.
The UN Security Council is due to meet on Monday after U.S. attacked Venezuela and deposed the long-serving President Maduro. The UN Security Council has met twice in October and in December last year over the escalating tensions between the United States and Venezuela. And my colleague Jessica Taneja now joins us for more. Jessica, we know Maduro is in custody in New York, in the DEA custody. He is to be presented in a federal court in Manhattan. What happens next to him? What are the cases against him? And how does the whole process of his punishment go?
Well, if you look at the last precedent that was available for us to see, a leader of a Latin American country who was captured in similar manner was the leader of Panama, Noriega. And if you go by the past as to what it reflected in terms of the American strategy and the legal systems at play here, well, in 1992, he was brought in 1989 during George Bush's administration, and he was convicted and sentenced 40 years of life sentence, which was right in 1992, 3 years later. So if you follow the charges, which are pretty similar, and also as America considers to be a destabilizing factor in the region, especially when it comes to narco-terrorism, which has been Donald Trump's pretty much the first campaign promise he wanted to fulfill, and of course immigration control being the other. And with that given into consideration and how the DEA is approaching with it, well, the charges were listed back in 2020. Now, this time around, they also mention his wife and his son. His wife also, as we're given to understand, was taken from their compound in Caracas in Venezuela in that late night operation. Absolute resolve is what the Americans call it. Now, with their attendance at the Manhattan court, right now they're in the Metropolitan Detention Center, and in a few days we expect some legal movements
Generally,
there.
Jessica, how long does the trial take in such cases?
Well, in the last case, it did take 3 years, and this time around, we don't know how they plan to expedite it. In this case, it looks like it could be done quickly, because there is no question right now, really struggling to sort of question at this point what the congressional approval meant or not. In the last time when this was done to the Panama leader, there was no congressional approval there as well.
Okay.
So you have certain authorities that are questioning this military operation that America has conducted on Venezuelan soil, but at the same time, these charges are pretty severe. And with the way that the Justice Department is approaching this, there should be at least 40 to 50 years, but then we'll allow the trial and the other details to prevail over this.
We know how the world has reacted. What is the political reaction inside the United States?
Well, if you look from comments that have come out recently, you have the Senate Minority Leader, Chuck Schumer, who seems to be of the view that there is no post-capture strategy. What happens to Venezuela from here on? Because what we're able to understand through that press conference that United States President Donald Trump, along with Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, along with the military commanders present there on the crucial day when the military operations was conducted, they seem to be of the view that America would continue to manage affairs, especially politically, in the country till the time they have their hands on the oil reserves that America needs and its refineries need, and that is their priority right now. Well, when the questions were asked about what happens to the existing aides of Maduro, for example, the vice president who has now been made charge by the courts in Venezuela, will she continue? When a question was posed to Marco Rubio on that, he said that they had a conversation, but soon after you heard the vice president say and demand release of Nicolas Maduro. So there's a lot of political instability, but right now what America would want to ensure is that they have complete control over the political, domestic, economic affairs of Venezuela and find stability in few years. And the hope is that there will be a democracy restored, because the leader or the opposition leader in hiding, who had actually won by putting a de facto leader there in Venezuela, Maria Machado, is still in hiding and hasn't come back. And questions when asked about her return, they said that it was uncertain, and Donald Trump was of the view that she doesn't have that level of respect a leader would need to go on with the democratic transition of Venezuela after Nicolas Maduro, the authoritarian leader, now ousted by America.
All right. So instability in Venezuela. We'll see how things unfold in the coming days. Jessica Taneja, thank you very much for joining us for the moment. And tech billionaire Elon Musk on Sunday expressed support for the people of Venezuela as SpaceX-owned Starlink announced it was providing free broadband internet services in the country for a limited period, as Venezuela remains gripped by fast-moving political developments. In a post on X, Musk wrote in support of the people of Venezuela while reposting a message from Starlink outlining the initiative. Colombian troops have been deployed along the border city of Cucuta after the U.S. carried out overnight strikes on Caracas and other parts of neighboring Venezuela, a move strongly condemned by the Colombian President Gustavo Petro. In a post on X, President Petro said that Colombia had activated a unified command post to secure the border and implement an operational plan, and called for an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council on and the Organization of American States. In other parts of the world, North Korea fired a ballistic missile towards the sea off its east coast, South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff said in a statement on Sunday. According to Japan's Ministry of Defense, the missile is believed to have already fallen. The last time Pyongyang tested its ballistic missile was in November. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un called for more than double the production capacity of tactical guided weapons in on his latest visit to a munitions factory. The first launch of North's ballistic missiles in 2 months comes as South Korean President Lee Jae-myung left for China on Sunday for a state visit, where Seoul has said that peace on the Korean peninsula would be discussed. In recent weeks, Kim has made a series of visits to factories that build weapons, as well as to a nuclear-powered submarine, and has overseen missile tests ahead of next year's 9th Party Congress of the Workers' Party, convened to set out major policy goals. And Japan issued an emergency alert after North Korea launched multiple ballistic missiles towards the sea today. Japan's defense ministry said that it had lodged a stern protest and strongly condemned the launch of several ballistic missiles by the North towards the sea off its east coast. In Myanmar, hundreds of prisoners walked free on Sunday after the junta announced annual Independence Day pardons. A huge crowd of relatives and family members were gathered outside Yangon's Incheon prison to welcome the released prisoners. Junta chief Min Aung Hyang pardoned 6,134 imprisoned Myanmar nationals as part of the annual amnesty to mark the country's Independence Day. Prominent model and former doctor Nang Mu San was also among those released on Sunday. She was arrested in 2022 on charge of harming culture and dignity. 52 foreign prisoners were released and will be deported to their respective countries. The military has arrested thousands of protesters and activists since its February 2021 coup. And still to come up on this edition of DD India Live, the Bhogapuram International Airport in Andhra Pradesh conducts its validation flight. Key initiatives to strengthen India's research and development and innovation ecosystem unveiled. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar embarks on a visit to France and Luxembourg. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Amritpal Singh. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is on an official visit to France and Luxembourg from today till the 10th of January. In Paris, the External Affairs Minister will meet the French leadership and hold talks with the Foreign Minister. Both leaders will discuss the progress made under the India-France Strategic Partnership and matters of global importance. The External Affairs Minister will also address the 31st edition of the French Ambassadors Conference as guest of honor. In Luxembourg, the External Affairs Minister will hold discussions with Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs Xavier Bettel of the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg with the senior leadership and also with the senior leadership of Luxembourg. He will also be interacting with the members of the Indian community in Luxembourg. Back home in India, Andhra Pradesh's aviation ambitions took a major leap forward. The upcoming Bhogapuram International Airport has successfully conducted its validation flight, marking a crucial step towards operational readiness. DD India's Taposh Bhattacharya files this exclusive report from Bhogapuram Airport in Andhra Pradesh.
Taking a decisive step towards operational readiness, GMR Visakhapatnam International Airport Limited has successfully conducted a validation flight at the upcoming Bhogapuram Airport in Andhra Pradesh. The milestone validation flight, operated by an Air India aircraft, marks a major breakthrough in the journey of the state's new Greenfield International Airport. The flight was conducted in the presence of Union Minister for Civil Aviation Kinjirapu Ram Mohan Naidu, senior officials from Ministry of Civil Aviation, Airports Authority of India, the Government of Andhra Pradesh, and leadership from the GMR Group.
India is no longer seen as a strong domestic aviation market, but as a global aviation market. That is the vision our Prime Minister has set for us today, and we are going in the right path. And the number of airports that we are launching, every 45 to 50 days we are having one airport launch. Either it's a new airport or it is an airport where we have expanded the capacity, and in the last 18 months itself we have done many, and the most prestigious of them has been the Navi Mumbai airport, which has also been pending for long decades. We have completed that, and very soon we are going to open the Noida Jewar airport also, which is on the verge of completion, and very soon we are going to see the Bhogapuram also launching its operations. So you are seeing how, with a vision to look into the future, we are creating the airports today.
The successful operation validates critical airside infrastructure, including the runway, navigational aids, operational systems, in the line with DGCA regulatory requirements. Speaking on the occasion, the Civil Aviation Minister said Bhogapuram Airport will emerge as a powerful growth engine, strengthening connectivity, boosting trade and tourism, generating large-scale employment. He added that Visakhapatnam is poised to become the economical capital of the East.
Gateway of the East. This is a vision our Chandrababu Naidu Garu has for this city, and you would see that in the last 18 months, the way Vizag has been projected internationally, and one biggest example that I want to put here is the $15 billion investment that Google is making. Google has always been situated in the Silicon Valley, and the first investment of this sort they are making outside of Silicon Valley, not even in the United States, not even in the Americas or the cross-Atlantic. They have come all the way to India, they have come all the way to Andhra, they have come all the way to Visakhapatnam. So the idea of saying Gateway of the East, already people are supporting that idea and people are coming.
Developed under the PPP model on a DBFOT basis, that is design, build, finance, operate and transfer, the airport will initially handle 6 million passengers annually and expand in phases. The project also includes an aerotopolis, an aviation hub and a state-of-the-art cargo terminal, positioning Bhogapuram Airport as a future-ready aviation gateway for Andhra Pradesh.
Right, so North Andhra is on the brink of a historic transformation. The upcoming Bhogapuram International Airport is expected to be operational soon. It's set to become a powerful engine of growth for not just for Visakhapatnam, but for Vizianagaram and Srikakulam, also nearing completion and ahead of schedule. This airport will boost global tourism, strengthen exports through advanced cargo and logistics, and anchor a massive aerospace and MRO hub. So all set for this particular international airport at Bhogapuram, and a short while from now, Union Minister will be coming here, and this particular place also will create a lot of jobs for the nearby areas and give a new economic geography for the North Andhra people. So all set to have the new Greenfield Airport at Bhogapuram. This is Tapush Bhattacharya signing off from North Andhra's Bhogapuram International Airport.
India's Minister of State for Science and Technology and Earth Sciences, Dr. Jitendra Singh, unveiled key initiatives to strengthen India's research and development and innovation ecosystem. These initiatives include the rollout of guidelines for recognition of in-house R&D centers of deep tech startups, the launch of PRISM Network Platform, TOCIC, Innovator Pulse, and Creative India under the PRISM scheme. The occasion also witnessed the release of the DSIR Disaster Management Plan and the exchange of MOUs with stakeholders, reinforcing collaborative, resilient and innovation-led national development. Underscoring the growing emphasis on strengthening sports infrastructure and promoting athletic development, Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the 72nd National Volleyball Tournament via video conferencing. The inaugural ceremony is being held at the Dr. Sampurnanand Sports Stadium in Varanasi. The tournament, being held from today to the 11th of January, will witness participation from across India, with over 1,000 players competing as part of the 58 teams representing various states and institutions. The tournament is expected to showcase high standards of competition, sportsmanship and talent in Indian volleyball. The tournament will further enhance the city's profile as a hub for major national events, aligning with its expanding role in hosting significant cultural and sporting initiatives. Addressing the event virtually, Prime Minister applauded how India is moving forward as every citizen contributes with an India-first mindset, driving the nation's progress together. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi also lauded how through provisions such as the National Sports Governance Act and the Khelo Bharat Policy 2025, how these schemes are transforming the sports ecosystem in India.
स्पोर्ट्स सेक्टर में भी सरकार ने बड़े रिफॉर्म्स किए हैं। नेशनल स्पोर्ट्स गवर्नेंस एक्ट और खेलो भारत नीति 2025 इस प्रकार के प्रावधानों से सही टैलेंट को अवसर मिलेगा। खेल संगठनों में ट्रांसपेरेंसी बढ़ेगी। देश के युवाओं को स्पोर्ट्स और एजुकेशन दोनों ही क्षेत्रों में एक साथ आगे बढ़ने का अवसर मिलेगा। साथियों, आज टॉप्स जैसे इनिशिएटिव से भारत में स्पोर्ट्स इकोसिस्टम ट्रांसफॉर्म हो रहा है। एक तरफ हम अच्छा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर और फंडिंग मैकेनिज्म तैयार कर रहे हैं और इसके साथ ही नौजवानों को शानदार एक्सपोजर देने के लिए भी काम कर रहे हैं।
And that's all in this edition of DD India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. The app is available both on Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR codes on your screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Amritpal Singh from my entire team here in Delhi. Thank you for watching DD India Live. Bye-bye.
Swagatam to Andhra Pradesh, the coastal jewel and of a modern, developed, vibrant India. The graceful Kuchipudi and exuberant Dhimsa showcase the artistic brilliance of this land. The Ikkat and Kalamkari speak of the talent of artisans and their skilled hands. A cultural concoction that unites people in the spirit of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam.